Cities are, of course, a major part of a nation's sense of self, and this is particularly true of large urban centers. Locales like London, Rome, and Tokyo loom large in the public imagination, drawing millions of visitors each year. Those who visit such cities often enjoy learning more about the places and things they encounter. While some unusual facts about major cities are well known, hidden histories and surprising bits of trivia often lie off the beaten path. We now take a closer look at some of the most fascinating facts about many of the world's noteworthy cities to gain a fuller understanding of just how unique they are. Today, we're unveiling our list of the 14 surprising facts about big cities around the world. But first, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for your daily dose of oddball information. Number 1. London is technically a forest. London is well known as one of the most culturally and economically powerful cities in Europe, and like many cities on the continent, it has a rich history, reaching all the way to the days when Rome conquered parts of Britain. Although it's very modern, it still contains traces of its past identities, and is one of those locales in which history seems to be all around. It's also a remarkably green city. In fact, according to the UN definition of the term, enough trees live within the city's limits for it to be classified as its own forest. According to one count, London is home to approximately 8.4 million trees, which is roughly one for every resident. The trees are not just beautiful, they also serve a number of important functions, including limiting air pollution, cooling the city, and preventing flooding. Sycamore is the most populous species, along with English oak and silver birch. Number 2. Blue lights in Tokyo's metro stations aim to reduce suicides. Many travelers feel Tokyo is one of the world's most beautiful cities, but it's also one in which a surprisingly large number of people take their own lives. In 2013, for example, nearly 3,000 people ended their lives. Around 27,000 suicides occurred in the country as a whole that same year. This is one of the leading causes of death in the city, and Tokyo has one of the highest rates in the world. The city has undertaken a number of efforts to combat this. Given how many people throw themselves in front of moving trains, much of Tokyo's emphasis has been on preventing this form of suicide, and one of the more innovative methods is the installation of blue LED lights. Studies have shown the presence of such lights is effective at reducing suicide rates at the stations where they're installed. No one is 100% certain why this happens, although some studies indicate the calming properties of blue lighting. Number 3. Chicago has a river that flows backwards. Chicago has long been among the foremost American cities, boasting such notable landmarks as the Cloud Gate sculpture, aka the Beam, the Willis Tower, Navy Pier, and, of course, the Chicago River, which was key to the city's growth throughout the 1800s. The river has had quite a vexing history, particularly as the city's population began to expand, leading to an increasing sewage problem. Given the threat of disease, Chicago's leaders knew drastic action was necessary. The result is the Chicago River of today, which actually flows backwards. An extensive canal was dug, completed in 1900, to ensure the waters reversed their course, taking pollutants away from Lake Michigan and into the Mississippi River instead. While this was beneficial to the city's residents, it ended up wreaking environmental havoc on several other locations downstream, and the effects of this engineering marvel can still be felt and seen today. Number 4. Dublin hosts the largest Viking cemetery outside Scandinavia. Dublin might be most famous as the capital of the Republic of Ireland, but it also has a rich Viking history. In fact, the modern city can trace its origins back to the conquerors from Scandinavia, and they left quite a legacy behind, including a number of graveyards. In fact, Dublin can lay claim to having the largest Viking cemetery outside of Scandinavia itself. This makes sense, as the Norsemen were sighted on the coasts of what would become Ireland as early as the late 8th century CE. Many burials found in the area known as Kilmainham Island Bridge date from 841 to 902. The discovery and exhaustive cataloguing of these various graves, a project that took 15 years to complete, validated many of the chronicles left behind by the Vikings and demonstrated the extent to which Dublin was a major trading centre in the early Middle Ages. Number 5. Hong Kong has a half-mile-long escalator. Hong Kong is one of the most attractive and populous cities in Asia. However, navigating its streets can be something of a challenge, given the hilly terrain and hot temperatures. Fortunately for visitors and locals alike, there's the central mid-levels escalator, a marvel of engineering designed to follow the natural incline of the hill. Rather than just one long escalator, it's a connected series of 16 escalators and 3 travelators, aka moving sidewalks, all of which are covered. The transit network, which cost $30 million to construct, opened in 1993. It periodically reverses direction to accommodate the dominant traffic flow. In addition to being free and serving more than 70,000 people each day, it has also appeared in films such as Chungking Express and The Dark Knight. Number 6. The temperature in Reykjavik has never exceeded 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Iceland has become a popular vacation spot with many Americans and Europeans in recent years, and much of this trade is centered on the capital of Reykjavik. This makes sense, as the city is both the largest on the small island nation and also its political and cultural capital. Like much of Iceland, Reykjavik is not a particularly warm place, meteorologically speaking. Although the weather is often rather mild, thanks in large part to the warm waters of the Gulf Stream, the temperature has never exceeded 80 degrees Fahrenheit since record-keeping began. Temperatures generally average 33, 35 degrees in the winter and 54 degrees in the summer. However, summer temperatures can sometimes climb into the 70s, though rarely above 77. Number 7. Toronto boasts a gigantic underground shopping complex. Toronto serves as both a population and cultural centre in the province of Ontario and in Canada as a whole. While many of its most notable landmarks are above ground, a remarkable system of tunnels and underground areas are also worthy of note. They began in 1900 as a set of tunnels constructed by the Eaton Company, a department store, but were subsequently expanded in the 1960s and up through today. Known as PATH, not an acronym, the system stretches for 17 miles beneath the city and includes 4 million square feet of retail space, making it the largest underground shopping complex in the world, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. It also provides numerous walkways and connections to some of Toronto's most notable landmarks. Number 8. Melbourne was almost named Batmania. Melbourne is one of the most populous cities in Australia, not to mention popular with tourists. However, few people outside the country might know it almost had a very different name, Batmania. The site on which the city took shape was first explored by John Batman, who allegedly paid the indigenous Dutagula tribe of Aboriginal people for the land. Subsequently, the settlement he founded became the capital of the Port Phillip district of New South Wales and was named Batmania in its founder's honour. However, this designation did not last long. Shortly thereafter, the province was renamed Victoria, after Queen Victoria, then the monarch of the UK, and the city took the name Melbourne, after William Lamb, the second Viscount Melbourne and Prime Minister to the Queen. Number 9. You're never more than 6 blocks from a park in Minneapolis. While Minneapolis might be known as one of the coldest big cities in the US, it still boasts one of the most robust and extensive park systems, which has a rich history dating back to its founding in 1883. The city's Park and Recreation Board has changed remarkably little in the intervening years, and it still retains a great deal of autonomy. Thanks to the sheer number of parks scattered throughout Minneapolis, currently numbered at 180, Residents and visitors are never more than 6 blocks from one, and many have been constructed to blend into the city's natural topography. Even though the park system faces the same economic pressures as many others in the US, it nevertheless enjoys widespread public support. Number 10. Some stray dogs in Moscow have learned to ride the subway. Russia's capital of Moscow has a long and rich history. In addition to serving as the center of government, it also happens to be home to a significant population of stray dogs, as many as 35,000, according to some estimates. These intrepid canines can be found in almost every part of the city, including the subway. In fact, a surprisingly large number have learned how to actually ride on the subway. What's particularly remarkable about these dogs is the extent to which they've become accustomed to the loud noises and general bustle of Moscow's crowded transit system. Given the extent to which even pet dogs sometimes struggle with such things, these animals are all the more extraordinary. They have clearly learned how to use the city's architecture to their own advantage. Number 11. Lisbon was a hotbed of spying. In World War II, Lisbon, Lisboa in Portuguese, the capital of Portugal, has a rich and fascinating history, stretching even past the days of the Carthaginians. Portugal was neutral during World War II, which meant spies for both sides found Lisbon to be a convenient base of operations. Both the Allies and Axis powers passed through the city, and it was a particularly important hub for communications between the US and its European allies on the continent. The city also paid host to some of the most well-known names in spycraft. To name just one example, Ian Fleming, creator of James Bond, perhaps the most famous spy in the history of movies, stayed at the Hotel Palacio, now called Palacio Estoril Hotel, in the suburb of Estoril. Number 12. Warsaw has the narrowest house in the world. As the capital of Poland, Warsaw has played a key role in the city's history and in European affairs more generally. It is also a center of art and culture in Eastern Europe, as evidenced by the construction of a rare architectural gem, the world's narrowest house, sandwiched between two other buildings, one from the pre-WWU era and the other a later apartment building. The Carrot House's widest point is only 122 centimeters, approximately 4 feet. What began as an art installation has since become a tiny haven for artists and writers. It was the brainchild of architect Jakub Szczęsny and took several years to build. Number 13. The Happy Meal originated in Kansas City, Missouri. Few fast food items are as ubiquitous or as recognizable as the Happy Meal. For generations of children, it's been one of the prime motivators for going to McDonald's, thanks to the inclusion of toys of various sorts, often linked to films playing at the time. Designed to be appealing to kids, with bright colors and the golden arches as handles, the Happy Meal debuted in Kansas City, Missouri, as well as in Phoenix, Arizona and Denver, Colorado, in 1977. While some locations were reluctant to buy into the concept, it wasn't long before the meal showed its value, helping the restaurant reclaim its declining share of revenue from families and children. It went national in 1979. Number 14. Rome has an entire separate country. Inside of it, Rome is one of the largest and most historically significant cities in the world. It's no longer the center of a sprawling empire, but it's still the capital of Italy and a major center of European culture, letting visitors encounter history face to face. In addition to notable architectural wonders like the Colosseum, Rome is also home to the world's smallest country, Vatican City, whose independence as a nation was established by the Lateran Treaty of 1929. The official head of state is the Pope, and it's home to fewer than 1,000 residents. Despite its small size, it nevertheless has all the various elements one expects of a sovereign state. It's also home to several museums that house some of the finest collections of art and history in the world. Which of these oddball facts do you find the most interesting? Tell us below and let us know if you've ever been to one of these cities. And while you're at it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for your daily dose of oddball facts. See you soon.